Listen to me. I was in prayer and I kept on hearing the Lord say, I'm about to compensate you for the hits you took in silence. Every last one of them. Because not every battle you fought was public. Not every tear you cried was posted. People don't understand this. Not every betrayal was explained. Because there were seasons where people watched you smile while heaven watched you bleed. There were nights you couldn't even pray with words because the pain was that deep. You just sat there looking out of a window, driving home, doing what it was that you was doing, trying to figure out how people you love could become people you had to heal from. But this is what I keep hearing the Lord say. I saw every silent sacrifice. See, the world rewards what it can see, but God rewards what nobody else knew existed. Jesus said something in Matthew 6:4. He said, your Father who sees in secret himself shall reward you openly. I want you to notice something. God didn't say he only saw your giving. He said he sees in secret. That means he saw the rejection. He saw the restraint. He saw the conversations you refused to have because you didn't want to dishonor him. He saw the text messages you deleted instead of sending. He saw the revenge you chose not to take. He saw that you kept serving while your heart was broken. He saw you keep loving while others relying on you. He saw you keep showing up when you wanted to disappear. See, people think because you stayed quiet, you weren't hurting. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Because sometimes silence is the loudest form of faith. Are you hearing me? Sometimes silence isn't weakness. Sometimes silence is actually trust. Because David understood this. King Saul threw spears at him over and over again. And David had every opportunity to become Saul's enemy. But instead, he became God's choice. See, some of you have been trying to understand why God wouldn't let you defend yourself. It's because your defense would have delayed your compensation. I'm here to let you know something. Sometimes God allows misunderstanding because he's preparing undeniable vindication. Are you hearing me? Undeniable vindication for your life. If you spend all your energy proving people wrong, you will miss what God is preparing to prove about your life. And I want to tell you something that the Lord dropped in my spirit. The wound qualified you for a reward the comfort never could. Because some blessings are attached to obedience. Others are attached to endurance. James actually said in James 1:12 that blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life. I want you to hear this. Notice the crown didn't come because they avoided pressure. The crown came because they survived it. Some of you thought the attack meant God had left you. No. The attack revealed heaven had trusted you, because there are some assignments that only mature believers can carry. There's some storms on punishment, they're preparation. But here's the part that's making my spirit leap when I read this, and I understand this when the Lord was speaking to me. God never forgets a silent seed. Your silence was a seed. Your forgiveness was a seed. Your integrity was a seed. Your patience was a seed. Your obedience, your endurance was a seed. And Galatians 6:9 says, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap if we do not faint. Notice the wording. Not might we reap, not could reap, will reap. And that harvest is guaranteed. That's what it means. Only the timing is hidden. Some of you have been asking God when. The Lord says you're asking for a calendar while I'm building a character. Y'all not hearing me. I said you're asking for a calendar while I'm building character. That's what the Lord is doing. Because if he gives you compensation before you're healed, you'll spend the blessing trying to prove something to people who never deserved an explanation. God says, I'm not just restoring what you lost. I'm restoring who you were before they wounded you. Hear that again. Some of you don't need your old life back. You need your confidence back. Are y'all hearing me? You need your joy back. You need your peace back. You need your expectation back. You need your laugh back. You need your boldness back. Because sometimes the greatest thing stolen wasn't money. It was momentum. But I keep hearing the Lord say, I'm giving momentum back to my people. Joel 2:25 declares, I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Think about that. God didn't say I restore the crop. He said, I restore the years. Only God can restore time. Only God can make one opportunity recover what 10 disappointments tried to steal. Only God can make one relationship heal what 20 heartbreaks damaged. Only God can make one phone call change an entire family's future. This is why you cannot quit now. You're standing too close to compensation. And I want to give you this revelation that the Lord showed me. See, compensation in the kingdom doesn't always look like replacement. Sometimes it looked like increase. Receive that. Job didn't get his old life back. He received double. Go look at Job 42. Joseph didn't get his prison years back. He received a palace. David didn't get Saul's approval. He received a throne. Ruth didn't get her husband back. She entered the lineage of Jesus Christ through Boaz. God doesn't merely replace. He often exceeds. That's why Ephesians 3:20 says he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think. Your compensation won't match your pain. It will exceed it. I speak that. The enemy measured your suffering, but God measured your future. So stop measuring life by what hits you. Measure it by who is carrying you. This is for somebody, because somebody watching this has apologized for surviving. You felt guilty because you're beginning to smile again. You've wondered if moving forward means what happened didn't matter. No. Healing doesn't dishonor your pain. Healing honors God's power. So I want you to hear me prophetically. I declare, according to Isaiah 61:7, that instead of your shame, you shall have double honor. And instead of confusion, you shall rejoice in your portion, not partial honor, but double honor, not occasional joy, but rejoicing, not barely enough, a portion. And I believe there are people listening to me right now who are about to experience what can only be described as divine compensation, unexpected favor. Receive it. Unexpected opportunities, unexpected restoration, unexpected peace, unexpected doors, not because you've been perfect, but because God has been faithful. And this time, you won't have to fight for what God gives you. You will actually just simply walk through the door He's opened. So before you give up, before you answer that offense, before you take matters into your own hand, remember this. Heaven has records that earth has forgotten. God has receipts nobody else can see. Every tear, every lonely night, every sacrifice, every insult, every time you refuse to get even, every time you chose righteousness over revenge, nothing was wasted. Nothing was overlooked. Nothing escaped His attention. Because I hear the Lord saying one more time, I'm about to compensate you for the hits you took in silence. When it happens, don't spend your testimony talking about how great you were. Tell them how faithful God was, because the same God who counted every tear has already counted your reward.